And we're back. Glenn's in the mix once again.
My
man from Amsterdam.
Yeah,
What's up,
made it back barely.
Nice.
Glad to be here. Cut it. Just no reason for cutting it so close. Checked my bags 7 minutes before they stopped accepting bags.
Nice. What happened? Did oh man, I had a joke for this. What's that weird drink that has kind of is cannabis, but it's like alcohol? They're always like, oh, it's like made in wormwood or whatever.
Absinthe?
Absinthe. It was delayed reaction absinthe. What?
Yeah, extended release. No, the fun police were trying to get us. And
What does that mean? What does that look like?
I'm
imagining a guy with like a stick
a pinata
and like
stick.
a big hat.
Something like it. But no, my friend lives in very central Amsterdam, and
Okay.
we decided to get an Uber to the airport.
Nice.
And it's just hard to get there, or it can be. And so we called a couple Ubers, and they were just like stopped on the map, just because if someone is like unloading a truck, then they're just like stopped on one of these little streets, and that cut out like,
What is Europe doing,
I know,
dude?
cut out like 20 minutes, and then there was some traffic, so it was just way closer than it should have been. But great trip. Went to Amsterdam for a full week, mixed in a 20 hours in Paris.
Nice.
That almost missed
Is that
both
like a
of those
Mary Kate and
trains.
Ashley movie?
Yeah.
20 hours in Paris. Did you see the Eiffel Tower?
I did. Yeah, we got out.
Really? You spent 20 hours there and you saw the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah, after dinner, went there. Got there right as it started sparkling. Me and 7 of my closest dudes. It was so romantic. But got a bottle of rosé. Sat out on the
Dude,
in
you
the
guys
little
are
courtyard.
so weird, dude.
So awesome.
So it was like, okay, I understand a dude trip to Europe. I've seen Euro Trip, the movie. Seems wild. But it sounds like you guys didn't get up to anything like super nefarious. Like all the pictures you sent were like, oh, here's like me at a museum, or like here, like I'm eating croque madame in Paris, and it's like, all right, we were expecting kind of like more activities in the bathroom of a rave at like 3 a.m. Like the episode of Succession where they're like, oh, okay, like Tom wants to go to like Prague for his bachelor party, and it's like, no, we're just gonna descend into the depths of like the most debaucherous, like nighttime, daytime doesn't matter rave party. And obviously Amsterdam, everybody's like, oh, red light district, like all of the coffee shops with the weed in it and all this crazy stuff. But it sounds like, yeah, like if you went to Paris for 20 hours and you and your 7 dudes went out to dinner and then we're like, let's stroll is it the Seine? Which river is it in Paris?
The Seine.
Let's stroll the Seine, roll up on the Eiffel Tower with some rosé.
Owned them. No, we
Pretty good.
Yeah, Amsterdam went to one little underground former jail rave.
Okay.
On Saturday. They have Techno Tuesday.
Okay.
In some sort of warehouse. Went there.
All right.
Paris went to a couple underground.
I understand
like
that you're
former wine cellars. It's
you're
actually very cool.
in a relationship. I get that. A lot of the pictures you sent where you're like, oh, here's me at a rave, here I'm doing crazy stuff. 95% dudes. What's going on? I don't want to make this all about like, oh, Europe, like chicks, but like it was a dude heavy adventure.
Or I'm just really good at taking pictures to share.
Look at girlfriend, me
and the
my
fellas
guys
again.
Nice.
What are you up
dude.
to now? Just more fellas.
Did you get a McRoyale with cheese?
I did not, but I'll tell you, Europe does better than us grab and go
Nope.
food.
Nope.
We do a lot of things
Nope.
better. They do grab and go food. In Amsterdam, they have this like little storefront where it's just like little windows, and you just Apple Pay and you press a button, food's right there, and you go and you walk. It's fantastic. It's called Fabo. Glorious. Public urinals, they do that better than us.
That is something I could use because I'm like
Pretty good.
if it's a Saturday afternoon and I'm like out for a walk, which is what I'm doing most Saturday morning to afternoons, there's a greater than 50% chance I'm peeling off into an alley and being, or like if I'm on the 606, if you've been on the 606 in Chicago, I'm peeling off into the trees. We don't have the public bathroom. Like,
It's
we
true.
just don't.
And they're very nice. Paris actually has full, like, bathrooms that are just, like, kind of standalone automated things. So they nailed that. Trains, they're pretty good.
Nice.
But we still got them on a lot of stuff. Like
Most of the stuff.
concert, entry, exit. Oh, my God. We go to this concert Saturday, music festival. Entrance, it's just a mob. Doesn't look like they're scanning anyone's tickets. Whatever, we get in after 30 minutes. Leaving, it's like constrained to like one little walking bridge. Oh my God. It actually took an hour of waddling like a penguin out of there.
That sucks.
Infuriating.
What is,
I felt like prime like Reggie
the,
Bush just trying to didn't work so well.
Is it just because the buildings are like old? Like what's the deal?
This was in like a park. So it just wasn't built to have like more than 100 people
parks
in it at a time.
Notorious for not having massive amounts of humans walk throughout them.
I just don't know why the exit route was through this one bridge.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. You're trying to help out the Euros. Also, it's still unconfirmed. Amsterdam it's in Dutchland or it's in Netherlands? Which one is it?
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Which
but it's also
they
Dutch.
are Dutch.
Okay.
They are, as we are American, they are Dutch, but it's also called Holland. That one I don't have a lot of answers
so
for.
Confusing. What is it from Austin Powers? It's like there's two things in this world that I will just not stand for, and it's people that are like xenophobic of other people's culture and the Dutch. Well, that's sick, dude. I'm glad you had a good time. We missed you. No Pulp Fiction reference. Did any of your dudes do a Pulp Fiction reference at any point?
No.
Man,
I know.
What a miss.
Yeah.
All right. Well, check it out. You want to rep the Euros. You love them and everything, but we're owning them. We're owning them. We're back again, baby. Yeah, we struck out that trade deal. I know none of the details. Classic American fashion. All I see is the 100 points that we're putting in on the Euro to start the week. Tell me what happened. Tell me you know what happened.
Yep. So yesterday reached a trade deal with the European Union Commissioner and President Donald Trump, 15% baseline tariff on EU goods, as well as having them commit an additional 600 million or billion.
It's got to be billion.
It's got to be billion. $600 billion over what time horizon? I don't know, for U.S. energy. So they're also buying more U.S. energy, and then a commitment to investment in some more U.S. tech. So I think, per the Financial Times, victory for Donald Trump.
Hell yeah.
Glad to get this uncertainty out of the way before August 1st, which was the extended deadline. Not looking like too many other trade deals have that August 1st deadline. So
nice.
Taking a lot of that out of the picture for this week. China's still on the board for negotiations, but I believe they have more time until August 13th to strike a deal. That's not on the calendar this week. Shouldn't be that many more trade deals, but we do have, for the first time in a while this lulling July, a action-packed economic week up ahead. Not today, not too much going on. Got some Fed index.
Doesn't matter. We're going to be parading around the great Euro trade deal that we won.
The great European trade deal of 2025.
Nice.
Can't wait to tell my grandkids about that. But tomorrow we've got JOLTS job openings. Yep, it is. This week is non-farm week.
It's your non-farm Fed week.
Non-farm.
Gonna go crazy.
Non-farm Fed week on. We got GDP, the first GDP number, which is the most shot in the dark. We've got a Bank of Canada rate decision. We've got a Fed interest rate decision. Got a BOJ interest rate decision.
Wow.
We've got a PCE reading that the Fed will not get to comment on before their meeting. And then
This is crazy.
non-farm payrolls on Friday. So a ton of U.S.
This might be the most news in a week.
This is pretty good. I mean, yeah, you've got European area inflation as well. A lot of, if there's a top 5 event historically for shaking up markets from a macro data perspective, a lot of countries are having them all this week.
Man.
Exciting to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, heading into it, I mean, I was checking in last week. Didn't look like, it looked like the dollar was softening a little bit. Wasn't too crazy. Was it ever any volatility shocks throughout the day? This seems to be the first big move.
Last week, you saw a mixed bag. They tried to take the dollar down earlier in the week, and then it stabilized to a good degree. Yeah, you can see here. They got that euro back up above 117.50, and then they took it down 100 points here today.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, looking at this range of 116 to 117.5, it'll be interesting to see today going into that Fed if they can get it back down close to those lows, because that'll be super, super interesting if we go into that Fed near those lows and we see some hawkish action out of Fed Chair Powell on Wednesday. Yeah, you just might see this move continue through those recent lows. But yeah, nice to see this move here. Also nice to see that it didn't happen on the open. It was a pretty normal open, and then everything got shifted as the news started to come out, and then especially as the European session started. I think worth also looking at that Swiss franc, because the dollar, this was a tough one last week where we got back below 80 cents, and then it was like, oh man, not only are we back below 80 cents, we're getting back down to 79. Like, we're at the lows.
The low, yeah.
And so nice bounce back above 80. If anyone has been, rinse and repeating that contrarian trade, I mean, also the trend following trade, if you've been selling those 80s when we've been getting down close to there, that's been good for 50 to 100 points. But if you got in on that contrarian side last week, obviously looking good. With the bounce, I'm guessing just alleviating fear across the board in U.S.-European relations. But still, I mean...
It still has a lot of room to run. I mean, we haven't seen 81 since the end of June, and even before then, categorically different from where we were this spring. So it's nice, to see a little bit of that pressure, but to even be back below 80 here, surprise to me.
Crazy. So yeah, this is all to say that you've gotten now in July a couple of big U.S. dollar rallies, and you haven't really gotten that in the last 2 or 3 months. The question becomes, as we hit this Fed event that'll conclude the month and then come out of it, especially those, handful of days following that Fed event where they digest what this new path is, because I mean, you can bring up the Fed Watch tool if you want. As not always, but as has been recent tradition, there is little unknown about the meeting itself, but there is great unknown about that September meeting. And so what I mean by they'll digest this in the week or so following this meeting is that these odds, again, given recent tradition, this September meeting doesn't have to go like all the last meetings, but if it does, these odds will shift in one direction or the other. They'll shift in a cut direction or a hold direction, likely well before September 17th. And so that'll likely happen in August. So yeah, an interesting position. Nice to see the dollar has stabilized here in July. A lot more room for it to run against, especially those European, the euro, the Swiss franc currencies.
But yeah,
we'll see.
This will be particularly interesting, this Fed meeting, because it could very well be a nothing burger, but that doesn't mean that this week will be, because right now you'll have a Fed meeting on Wednesday. they're not looking to cut this month, could signal a cut in September. But what they wouldn't want to do, I imagine, is signal anything ahead of their preferred inflation gauge the following day and the non-farm payrolls report coming out on Friday. And so I would look to this tool in particular to see a real-time market reaction past Wednesday and into Thursday and Friday, because these could be categorically different. We could see a big lift if not only the Fed signals cutting to start in September. If we get bad numbers across both of those, we could see this probability of maybe a jumbo cut by September.
I will book your action on the jumbo cut if you want. I'll give you that 50-1. You can have all you want, because I think there's no chance they signal a cut in September this week. They might put it on the table, but given what Powell has been saying and given the data from July, I think there's little to no chance that they get dovish in this July meeting. But you're exactly right on the inflation data and the non-farm data here this week. They will get it again before the September meeting.
Right.
But essentially an average of those data points, especially the employment data and the inflation data, will dictate where these odds are going. A lot of people like to think like, we have to wait for the Fed event to happen and then we'll see what's going to happen.
Right.
And man, for the last 5 to 10 years, it has been so choreographed. The only real surprises have been around the pandemic and then when inflation started to hike up in 2021. And so you're exactly right. The Fed event, out of everything, the Fed event is probably likely to be the biggest nothing out of all of this stuff. I mean, you've seen Powell, even in the face of, Trump calling him out and everything, has been just like, dude, like my job is looking at I don't want to oversimplify, but it's like I look at 2 numbers a month and then I say we either cut or we don't cut or we hike. And he's been sticking to that, man. Yeah. And so I would be super surprised if something sensational came out of the Fed event. But you're exactly right that if that inflation data, this reading this week and the reading that we get in a month from now, 2 readings before the September meeting, if both of them come in higher than expected, I think they will take that cut out for September. If they come in lower than expected, maybe they'll build that cut in. Same with the employment data. If it comes in lower than expected this week and a month from now, probably greater chances of them getting that cut in September and vice versa.
And do you think when talking about rate cuts, traditionally, a market I want to call out for sure is this U.S. dollar, Japanese yen, which has had some historic rate sensitivity to U.S. interest rates. Do you think, in a traditional sense, we say, if we're cutting rates, that should lower the demand, dollar should soften, but we haven't necessarily seen that play out in recent months with so many other pieces. Is this a week where this actually could be the focus with some of the trade stuff out of the way, or is dollar softness so baked into what we've already gotten from a price action standpoint, where even kind of a dovish tone is, all right, it had to come eventually?
Well, a couple of things. This will be the second, maybe third year in a row where the market has priced in 4 to 8 cuts to start the year, and we have gotten none or 1 or 2.
Right.
And so that's, I don't know the future. You might say, Frank, we're only, a little more than halfway through the year.
Through half the meetings.
At this pace, we're getting maybe 1 more cut this year. We haven't gotten a cut this year.
No, we got a couple.
At this pace, we're getting no cuts this year. So you have to take that into the equation, but also, I don't know if you know this, but in the Forex market, there are 2 sides to every pair. And I think there's a good amount of building fear that Japan has peaked. If you think about
From an interest rate perspective?
From an economic and interest rate perspective, if you think about the recent, coming off of those highs of economic activity in 21 and 22, like the European countries have, and like Australia did, and China never really got up to that great economic activity, but hasn't been necessarily shooting the moon the last couple of years. Japan, it's hard. I think the times when you've seen this pair get down to 140, and there's the scare of like the carry trade's unraveling and the dollar is getting annihilated and all this stuff, has mostly been like, yes, the U.S. is kind of coming back down to earth a little bit, but also those were on some of the ideas of like Japan is like speeding up when everybody's slowing down. And we just haven't seen it, man. Like, it would be something if it was like, okay, we're going into this September meeting. They might cut down to 4% now, and Japan is already at 100 bips. And it's like, they got out of negative. That was a big win. And then they got to 50 bips, and it's like, dude, we've stalled out there. They had you missed their big election last week.
How was that?
I still don't really know. I tried to describe it. From what I could glean, there are some young conservatives that have taken the mantle there in Japan, and so maybe that brings in some more economic activity and potential.
Something else to look at.
But
then.
like I don't, until they prove you wrong. What are you going to say about Japan's economy? I don't know.
Yeah, and it's kind of their currency is, I'd say, the most sensitive to, threatening rate decisions, just because they have surprised in the past. But yeah, some of that kind of weight, similar to the tariff talks, not holding as much, movement on the rumor, just because maybe there isn't a ton to show for it. Another pair I want to call out as we start this week of trading is this Australian dollar US dollar market, which early this morning behaving just like every other US dollar pair, with US dollar
get us into like the hourly chart or something,
taking a leg lower. But yet another headline, fundamental reason perhaps why this is interesting: historic correlation with the stock market, the U.S. stock market, being kind of a risk on, risk off. We have, I think, 4 of the Mag 7, 8 earnings or what have you that could very well, in addition to the Fed meeting, dictate what the week looks like for U.S. equities. Is this pair one to watch for you on some news like that?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, again, this to me has been, out of all the research that you've done the last couple of weeks, we're doing more and more studies, this has been super eye-opening to me. My vibe on this pair and the other commodity currencies has long been like, oh man, they just like can't get it going. Like you're seeing the euro go from 102 to 118, and Aussie goes from 60 cents to 65 cents. And it can't break out of these ranges, can't get close to the highs. But you've changed my vibe on this in that this has just been the most mean reverting pair the last couple of months, and your research has shown the last couple of years. And yeah, we got the rally again last week, up to 66, and they've taken it all the way back down again. And so just great mean reversion trade. If you've not been liking the trending markets of the euro or the pound, this trade in here, or the New Zealand dollar, or even CAD starting to see a little bit of that two-sided action the last couple of weeks, has been a good mean reversion trade. So I'd be watching it for that. I am surprised to see this market down so much with all the other risk-on markets moving higher. I would imagine something specific to China or the Australian economy is going on here. Maybe there's a trade in this against some of those equities, but if I'm looking, I would probably look at the Chinese equity. If Chinese equities are moving lower today and this market is lower, then I'd maybe say, okay, there's probably nothing for me to do in this Australian dollar market against equities as a trade. But yeah, it's interesting, but it's more of the same. This market cannot trend in one direction or the other.
Surprising to see. I mean, testing these recent highs through that 66-cent level. I'm sure that got a lot of people going on a momentum indicator of various sorts, a psychological breakthrough level, and just took half a day to get back through it and trending completely the other direction. But yeah, when you're looking at these mean reverting markets historically, also I feel have to be pretty patient, because you could get stuck in any of this kind of middle of the trend, and then have a trade on that you don't actually have as much conviction for position terms. So if you're trading this market, definitely be sure to be patient in your entry points, and not just get in because it's going down 4 days in a row. We've seen it go down 5, and then you might not get any of that bounce back for longer than you think.
Cool, man. Let's get out of here.
All right, that'll do it for us today on Forex Focus, but not all for Tasty Live as we get started. So stay tuned for Tom, Tony, and Vanetta up next.
Forbes called us best online for options trading. Investopedia, best for options trading, period. With stockbrokers.com, we're number 1 for options and futures trading. The Motley Fool really likes us. And so does Business Insider. So what else can we say other than boom? Trade like a trader. Tasty Trade. Make your move.
Craig in New York City, what's up?
I just want to say, I've been with you since the very early days of Thinkorswim, and traded all kinds of markets here and there. And I got to say, I could be off so much worse if it wasn't for what you guys have sort of drilled into me over years and years and years. And so I just want to thank you, because you could have easily just taken the money and run when you sold Thinkorswim, and you didn't, and you started this. And you basically have just given me this full education in this thing that was completely foreign to me many, many years ago. And so even though I've lost money in the last few days, you've saved me a lot at the end of things. Like, losses could have been catastrophic, and they're not. So